Hello everybody, Danny or Maccam here, and before we officially get into this video, I just want to let you guys know that I recorded the audio for this video on March 2nd, which means that it was the night after the Blazers game on the 1st versus the OKC Thunder. I wanted to clarify that because in this video you're going to hear me saying last night a lot about the game, so I just wanted to clarify when I recorded it so that you guys don't get too confused about it. And also I want to encourage you guys to leave any and all input you can, especially if it's honest, because I really appreciate that, whatever it is, whether it's letting me know how to improve, or ideas for videos, or whatever it might be. I would really appreciate that, so be sure to do that, even if it's just a simple like or dislike. It is greatly appreciated, so thank you very much, and let's get into the video. Hello everybody, Danny or Maccam here, and today, what I want to talk about, and who specifically I want to talk about, is somebody that from last night's OKC Thunder Portland TrailBlazers game really hasn't been talked about like he should, is none other than Jusuf Nurkic, the Bosnian Beast. Oh man, I remember the day that it was announced that we officially had acquired him in a trade from Denver. Just seeing all these people, all these Denver fans, telling us that we're overvaluing him and that he is incredibly overrated and that he just plain sucks, and so we're gonna regret the trade. However, what I basically told them in turn is basically that, hey, maybe you should consider the fact that maybe it's the other way around and that you guys simply didn't value him enough. You didn't get to see really what this guy can do, and you didn't really allow him much of a chance. Plus, Jusuf didn't really fit well with the system that they had there in Denver, especially considering they already were stacked at the front court positions because, they have been now for, what, 3 straight seasons? They always end up picking up excess players in free agency in the off seasons, so it makes sense that Denver wouldn't necessarily have time for a developing big man that doesn't really fit too well with their system. Plus, he's not exactly the most athletic player in the world, and he's not exactly the most in shape that he could be, admittedly. So there is some downsides to the game. But last night, and I know it's just one game, and he's only been with us, I believe that was the 4th or 5th game total he's played with us. I think it was 4th, here in RipCity. And but just looking at the overall perspective of last night's game, he posted 18 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, mind you, a 7-foot, 250-pound big man who's not so athletic, and 5 blocks, most of them on Enes Kanter. It was either 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly which. I know he had one fairly notable one that's in highlights for him in last night's game on Russell Westbrook on a drive. But, man, even if it's just in a flash game like that, if it turns out to be a flash game, that still shows that he has that in his arsenal, and he's extremely talented, especially for 7-foot, 250-pound big man that hasn't necessarily gotten the most experience in the league and is very new to this team. Talk about already having a lot of chemistry and apparently being very comfortable in what he's doing, and also being allowed to basically discover himself and discover his place in this team. Holy crap. And let me just throw in, of course, the fact that I wish I could go to one of our home games here before the season ends, and as soon as Myers gets in the game, he's about to check in, or he ends up at the free throw line, I just want to see if I can get the rest of the crowd, because the nosebleeds, which is always what gets the rest of the arena going, I want to see if we can get the rest of the Portland fans to start chanting, "Wave Myers," or "Cut Myers," or "Myers, you suck," because I hate Myers Leonard. He's the most overrated, overpaid, useless player, probably on any NBA roster, in my personal opinion. He just plain sucks. He's extremely inconsistent, but anyway, let's get back to Jusuf Nurkic, because that's the main point of this video. So yeah, this guy comes mildly recruited out of Bosnia and Herzegovina in the Adriatic Sea region, the South Slavic region of Europe. slightly to sort of on the light side of moderately recruited. Yet he still goes fairly high in the first round of the draft. And, you know, he's pretty highly touted by the GM and some of the scouting staff there in Denver. But they also picked up Nikola Jokic, who comes from Serbia, next door to the east of Bosnia. And he came in, I believe, pick 12 in the second round, so overall pick number 42. And what Nikola's doing is insane this season, especially for his player in his sophomore season, his second year. He's just demolishing pretty consistently other teams pretty much by himself. And he fits their system pretty well. Actually, in fact, getting Mason Plumlee from us here at RipCity, I think Denver got a really good bargain there, because I think both sides got a lot of benefit, because, again, Mason Plumlee would fit a lot better in their system. One, he's a lot more athletic, he's a lot quicker, and again, he can also pass really well. However, the way he passes and the way he kind of play makes is a little bit different than how Jusuf does. Jusuf is more hands-on and more direct, and a little more free-flowing and ambitious, whereas Mason likes to pass from the post when he's posted up, more than anything, or do really quick bounce passes right as he's about to drive. But with Jusuf, he has I noticed in last night's game, he has a very unique way of utilizing a pick and roll that he's most comfortable with. He likes, especially in crunch situations when the defense really wants to close out on him, but they want to also make sure that CJ and Damian aren't really gonna have much air to breathe, that he likes to go up, hesitate as if he's gonna come up for a pick, pull back just about a half a step, and then go right up into a pick position, and just about when it seems like he's about to fully set up for a pick, he just darts to the rim with a lot of force and speed, and the hopes that he gets the passes. And last night he was really getting those passes, and he was catching them pretty well, and he even got 2 great layups with quite a bit of contact, and you know, not a lot of room to look or breathe, see the hoop. So, I mean, he's showing that he's a very versatile big man, and he's only 22, mind you. Mason Plumlee's 26, whereas, you know, we got Jusuf Nurkic still on a rookie contract at, you know, 22 years of age. He still has a lot of potential that I think most people still, to this day, don't really recognize he has. But I like to go back to, once again, I keep doing this, even when I just reminisce to myself, I keep going back to the day that it was announced that I traded. I had never watched this guy play in the entire time he's been in the league. Never saw him in Europe. Didn't know who he was. But I've always had this inclination to trust in unknown underdog players, especially if they come from Europe, because still to this day, scouts really don't put enough emphasis, I personally believe, on European players and teams. But I just love the game that he has. And again, like I said, the whole point of why I went into this is because I never watched him, never had heard of him, didn't watch him in even the 2 years he was in the NBA up until we got him. I watched him the first game he played for us against Utah, and I was very thrilled and happy to see what he did. In fact, that specific game versus Utah, his very first game playing, he came off the bench after Myers Leonard, who, again, please cut Myers. He sucks, he's useless, he's a waste of space, he's a waste of salary cap, he's a waste of all that. Anyway, but, seriously, he was like, when Myers was in the game, and they had the starting crew in the game, I know for a fact, without even looking at the efficiency stats on both the offensive and defensive ends, Portland was horrible compared to when they had the lineup of Jusuf Nurkic, Mo Harkless, Pat Connaughton, I think it was Shabazz Napier, and then Damian Lillard. At that point, or even if Allen Crabbe came in, we were still more efficient with that lineup. Or even interchange, the small forward again with then Alfred Camino. It's still, we were that much more efficient, so much more efficient, from the offensive end especially, but also the defensive end with that lineup. But even if you look at specifically Jusuf, when he wasn't in the lineup, but they had the rest of those 3 potential lineups, we still were a lot less offensively efficient blatantly, and I would say definitely defensively it seemed we were a lot less efficient because suddenly Utah would go on a little mini spurt of a run. So it just that was the instant thing I first noticed when I saw him in that first game for us. It was he instantly made an impact just by being on the floor. It was incredible. And then the more he touched the ball, the more of a even bigger, the more immense his impact became on the court. It was incredible. And he hadn't even played a game for us. And you think about the stats he put up in that game off the bench, and then each of these other games, it's almost like he's instantly gained chemistry here, and he's instantly gained confidence the moment he got traded here. Which actually, if you listen to his interview with CSN&W here, when he first got here, in the interviews, he actually did sound so incredibly confident. It was hilarious. You could tell he sounded like a kid in a candy shop. He was so giddy to be here, and you could tell he was legitimate, rather than your typical NBA player where when they get traded to a new team, they arrive and they have their interview, or they get signed on an off season. They say, they sound dead inside. That's what they sound like. They sound so dead, and yet they convey it as if they're so clearly have a lot of excitement radiating out of them. They're like, I'm very happy to be here. It's a great group of guys, got a great core here, amazing staff. I'm very excited for the future. I think that we could make a good run in the playoffs. I'm extremely exhilarated and thrilled, and I cannot wait to play with this team. I am so excited to be here. So, I'm dead inside. This is basically what they sound like. And instead, Jusuf, you could tell he was so animated, and he especially you could see the twinkle in his eye and the big giant grin he had on his face, and just like certain mannerisms and how he spoke. You could tell, and body language, you could just tell he was truly radiantly thrilled with being here. And the thing I noticed when that interview, what he said is that Portland needs me and I need them. And he said that with, literally everybody knows that as a fact. And I instantly was super thrilled with him saying that, because my instinctive response was to respond out loud to basically him as if he was there, or I was there. It's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's 100% factual and true. So yeah, Jusuf Nurkic is just, I think, an incredibly underrated player. And yes, I'm still quite a bit biased, and I am quite a bit, maybe a little overly ecstatic about it, especially considering it's so early on. But you also have to consider that he's 22 years old. He hasn't been in the league that long.
Can bring a lot to the table.
And yet,
a lot of energy. Player who can
look at what he's done
on the defense and the offense.
Getting traded to a new team and playing four games for us. Even if it was 5, the instant adjustment he had. And that now, already in that 4th or 5th game, this case last night versus OKC, it's incredible to see that, to know that he's instantly comfortable and he's instantly making huge impacts beyond what you would see in the statistics and what you see on the floor, what you necessarily hear from people.
I want to help this team winning.
It's truly incredible, and it's really almost unheard of, because you even have long-time veterans that have made an impact hugely on the other team. You can tell by their statistics they drop off a cliff suddenly with that first season. Usually they get better obviously by the second half of the season, but it takes them that half of the season to fully become comfortable, and then by the next season they're so incredibly comfortable and associated and acclimated to that new team now that they play as they're expected to. Whereas, again, Jusuf Nurkic, he's in his 2nd or 3rd year, he's 22 years of age, he didn't spend any time in college, straight from Europe, basically, and look at the impact he instantly made as soon as he comes to the Blazers. It's just like,
what have you heard about Portland, the city?
It's an instant
I heard a lot.
Which is so incredibly uncommon when you're just traded to it, and just arrived for a new team,
small town,
from your old team, and yet you're already looking like you're extremely comfortable, and you already have built tons of chemistry. It's just unbelievable. Yeah,
it was kind of simulate. Like
he has not been talked about. And again, 16 points, 12 boards, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. And I need to look to see if he had any steals in the game. He also shot really efficiently. I can't remember exactly what the statistic was.
I mean,
but
when I play with the back, so it was
you know,
impressive how small.
I mean, he played, and he showed last night again. He could play through contact really well, even if it was really hard contact, and he was blinded, and therefore he wasn't really looking at the hoop. He still knew how to. He knew where he was on the court enough to be able to kick it off the glass before he ended up out of bounds through extremely heavy contact. And
definitely, I'm not a player who
just
like the move.
both sides of the floor. He's so fluent. It's incredible.
I want to be here.
And if he can make this extremely consistent, there's no way he can't. You know, there's no way you can look down on him and say, yeah, he's overrated. He's underrated. That's what everybody would just about have to say. Is that he was very underrated, and he probably still is underrated, and he probably has a lot more potential than we realize. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you got the gist out of it and the info you wanted to look for, and I hope you enjoyed it. Here on the end screen you will see a video recommended from my main channel, which is the Coronal Violin. It is my gaming channel. Be sure to check that out if you haven't yet, and of course a video, when available, here on Maccam. Thank you again for watching so much, and have a great day.